I never expected my father's fist to land so hard against our dining table that the crystal salt shaker toppled over, spilling white grains across the mahogany surface like an early winter snow. My hand moves instinctively to my stomach still flat, no sign of the life growing inside me. The Sunday pot roast sits half-eaten on fine china plates, steam no longer rising from the carrots and potatoes. "You have 48 hours to leave this house," Father announces, his voice military crisp from 20 years in the Air Force. He straightens his collar as if preparing for inspection, or accept our appointment at the clinic in Denver. Mother dabs at her eyes with a linen napkin. "What will the church committee say?" she whispers, her gaze fixed on the painting of mountain peaks above the fireplace rather than meeting mine. Patricia Johnston's daughter just got engaged to that lovely dentist, and here you are. The dining room suddenly feels too small, the walls closing in. The chandelier light catches on Mother's pearl earrings as she shakes her head. I try to swallow, but my throat tightens, refusing to cooperate. "Rosalind, please," Father says, as if her tears are the most inconvenient part of this conversation. My sister Maeve sits perfectly still, her spine straight against the chair back, just like Mother taught us. Perfect posture, perfect grades, perfect Maeve. I notice her fingers tightening around her water glass, the only sign that this family implosion affects her at all. Yesterday morning plays through my mind like a reel of film. Dr. Winter's office with its pastel walls and outdated magazines. Her voice gentle but clear. "Elowen, with your particular uterine condition, you should understand terminating this pregnancy might leave you permanently unable to conceive again." The words had knocked the air from my lungs. I'd always imagined children someday, just not now, not at 19, not while unmarried and still living under my parents' roof. Not with Colin, who'd stopped answering my calls the moment I'd mentioned the word pregnant. I glance at the living room bookshelf where Father proudly displays Maeve's pharmaceutical textbooks. My daughter, the future doctor. He tells visitors, never mentioning my photography, scholarship, or the award my portrait series won last spring. My work hangs in the school gallery, but has never found a place on our walls. "I can't do what you're asking," I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I clear my throat and try again, stronger this time. "Not when it means I might never have children." Father's face reddens, a vein pulsing at his temple. "Then you've made your choice. You're no daughter of mine." The words slice through me like a blade, but something unexpected happens. My hands stop shaking. The trembling that began the moment I sat down at dinner and said, "I have something to tell you," suddenly ceases. A strange calm washes over me, as if my body recognizes what my mind is still processing. I've been cast out. I push back my chair and stand. The dining room falls silent except for Mother's muffled sniffling. I turn toward the stairs, toward my bedroom, and the life I need to pack into whatever bags I can carry. Maeve follows me, her footsteps light on the carpeted stairs. In my room, I pull my suitcase from the closet, the one we used for our family trip to Yellowstone 3 summers ago. I was Father's hiking buddy then, worthy of his smiles and approval. Maeve stands in the doorway, arms crossed. "You could still change your mind," she says, not moving to help as I begin pulling clothes from hangers. "Would you?" I ask, not looking up. She doesn't answer. I fold a sweater with mechanical precision, placing it in the suitcase. Then another, and another. My photography portfolio leans against the desk, too large to fit, too precious to leave. I'll have to carry it separately. With each item I pack, the reality solidifies. I'm not just losing my home, I'm losing my place in this family, the identity I've held for 19 years. Daughter, sister, honor student, church volunteer. All conditional roles, it seems, dependent on my ability to make choices my parents approve of. Maeve watches silently as I move around the room, collecting pieces of my life. I realize now she won't step in, won't advocate for me. Her loyalty has limits, and I've crossed the line that separates the acceptable from the exiled. The truth hits me like a physical blow. Their love has always been conditional. I just never tested the conditions until today. Next day, I nearly drop my phone as the text notification appears, not from Colin, who hasn't responded in days, but from Maeve. I tap to open it, expecting words of support or at least sympathy. Instead, I see a screenshot, a conversation between Maeve and Colin. "Your sister needs to take care of this. I'm not ready to be a father." The room tilts sideways. My stomach lurches as the realization hits they've been talking behind my back. My legs buckle and I barely make it to the bathroom before retching into the toilet. The sour taste of betrayal burns worse than the bile. Kneeling on the cold tile floor, I scroll through more messages. Dates going back months. Pet names. Inside jokes. My sister and my boyfriend. No, not just my boyfriend. The father of my child. I wipe my mouth with trembling fingers and haul myself up using the sink for support. In the mirror, my face looks pale, almost translucent. The person staring back seems unfamiliar, a stranger whose life has just imploded twice in 24 hours. When I return to my bedroom, Maeve stands in the doorway, watching me fold shirts into my suitcase. Something about her posture seems different now, not just aloof, but defensive. She holds her phone against her chest like a shield. "You saw," she says. Not a question. I keep folding, my movements mechanical. "How long?" Maeve steps into the room but maintains her distance. "Since February." 5 months. While I was taking extra photography classes, while I was helping Mom with church fundraisers, while I was falling in love with Colin, he was seeing my sister too. "Did you know I was pregnant when you encouraged me to tell Mom and Dad?" The words taste like pennies in my mouth. Maeve looks at the ceiling, then the floor, anywhere but at me. "Colin told me 2 weeks ago. We discussed options." Options. The word hangs between us like poison. "Elle, be realistic. You're 19 with no job, no degree. How are you going to raise a baby?" She takes another step forward, looming over me as I sit surrounded by half-packed belongings. "Think about your scholarship, your future." My future. I laugh, but it sounds more like a sob. The future where my sister sleeps with my boyfriend while plotting how to handle my inconvenient pregnancy? Maeve flinches. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" I stand, needing to feel less small in this conversation. "We didn't plan to hurt you." Her voice softens with practiced sympathy, the same tone she uses when volunteering at the hospital. "Things just happened between us." "And then when he found out you were pregnant." "Things just happened," I repeat flatly. "For 5 months." Maeve's shoulders straighten, her perfect posture returning along with her conviction. "Colin and I have a connection. We want the same things: medical school, careers, a proper timeline for a family." The full weight of her betrayal crashes down. Not just an affair, a complete replacement. Maeve would be the proper girlfriend, the one with ambition that matches his. The one who wouldn't get inconveniently pregnant. "Get out," I whisper. "Elle." "Get out." She backs toward the door but pauses at the threshold. "Mom and Dad are right, you know. This pregnancy will ruin everything you've worked for." After she leaves, I sit heavily on my bed, hand instinctively covering my stomach. Reality settles around me like dust. I have $267 in my savings account. No job, nowhere to go. I remember what my school counselor told Anna Peterson when she got pregnant last year. "Girls like you rarely finish high school, let alone college." Her voice had been kind but final, like she was delivering a medical diagnosis. My gaze falls on my photography portfolio leaning against the desk, the award-winning series that earned me a partial scholarship to the state university. Pictures I took of abandoned buildings reclaimed by nature beauty emerging from brokenness. How ironic that now seems. I flip through the pages, wondering if this is all that will remain of my dreams. Images frozen in time, capturing a future that will never materialize. As I close the portfolio, a small white rectangle flutters to the floor, a business card. I pick it up, running my thumb over the embossed lettering. Janice Thorne, Interior Design. On the back, handwritten in blue ink. "If you ever need me, call." No questions asked. Aunt Janice, Mom's younger sister who moved to Idaho years ago after some family disagreement nobody discusses. I met her only once, when I was 14. She had hugged me too tightly, her perfume smelling of sandalwood, and slipped this card into my hand when nobody was looking. I stare at the 10 digits of her phone number as the house creaks and settles around me. Through the wall, I hear my parents' muffled voices and their bedroomy father's deep rumble. my mother's softer responses. As I hold Aunt Janice's card in my trembling hands, I wonder if reaching out to family I barely know is safer than staying where I'm not wanted. Would you risk the unknown, or try to change minds that seem already made up? I check the time. 11:42 p.m. Not too late to call. Not too late to find out if "no questions asked" was a genuine offer or just empty words. My finger hovers over the numbers, ready to dial. Next morning, I wake to the sound of my father's voice on the phone in his study, the words drifting up through the heating vent like poisonous smoke. The digital clock on my nightstand reads 6:42 a.m. Yes, Robert, I'm afraid Elowen will be taking a leave of absence for health reasons. Father's voice carries the same tone he uses when announcing budget cuts at faculty meetings. We'd appreciate your discretion in handling this situation. My stomach twists, and I'm not sure if it's morning sickness or the realization that Father is already erasing me from the world beyond our walls. Robert Kinselath, school principal and Father's racquetball partner for 15 years. I press my ear against the floor vent, catching fragments as Father continues. The photography scholarship application? Yes, perhaps best to set that aside for now. The air vanishes from my lungs. 4 years of portfolio building, of staying up until 2 a.m. perfecting prints in the school darkroom, dismantled in a single phone call. My future snatched away without my knowledge or consent. I pull myself from the floor and sit on the edge of my bed, hands shaking as I reach for the glass of water on my nightstand. The sound of Mother's voice drifts up the stairs now, her telephone voice with its practiced warmth. Patricia, would you put Elowen on the prayer chain? We're facing quite a family crisis. A pause. No, I can't share details, but God knows our hearts. By sunset, every member of Riverton Community Church will know something terrible has happened to the Price family. The rumors will spread like wildfire through our small town, and I'll be burned to ash in their wake. My phone buzzes with a text. Colin, after 3 days of silence. Can we talk? I've been thinking. 20 minutes later, I stand in the backyard with my phone pressed to my ear, morning dew soaking through my slippers. The chill reminds me that winter is coming, and I have nowhere to go. I can get you $800, Colin says without preamble. My cousin in Denver knows a place. Dr. Winters told me I might never have children if I terminate this pregnancy. I say, my voice steady despite the tears sliding down my cheeks. That's not my problem, Ellie. I'm not ready to be a father. His voice hardens. Take the money or don't. Your choice. I hear voices in the background, laughter. Music. He's at a party while my world implodes. Did you ever care about me at all? The question escapes before I can stop it. The line goes dead. When I try to call back, my call goes straight to voicemail. I check social media to find he's blocked me everywhere. Just like that, Colin Hargrove has erased 3 years of my life as easily as deleting a photo. Back in my room, nausea hits me in waves. My limbs feel like sandbags as I try to pack. Each shirt I fold represents a memory I'll leave behind: school dances, hiking trips, family vacations to the lake house where I learned to water ski while Father cheered from the boat. I rest my head against the cool wood of my dresser, fighting another round of dizziness. When it passes, I force myself to think strategically. Father keeps important documents in his fireproof safe: birth certificates, social security cards, insurance policies. I wait until Mother leaves for her weekly hair appointment. The combination hasn't changed since I was 12. My parents' anniversary. 514. Inside, I find my birth certificate tucked between insurance policies, my social security card in a manila envelope, and my high school transcripts in a folder labeled Elowen Academic. These pieces of paper prove I exist, that I once belonged here. I slide them into my backpack alongside a photo album and the cash I've saved from birthdays and summer jobs. With trembling fingers, I pull Aunt Janice's business card from my wallet. The family outcast who moved to Idaho after a fight so legendary that no one speaks of it. The handwritten note on the back reads, "If you ever need me, call. No questions asked." I've never taken her up on the offer. Never had reason to until now. She answers on the first ring. Janice Thorne. Aunt Janice? It's Elowen. My voice cracks. A moment of silence then. I've been waiting for your call for years, honey. Her voice warms with affection I haven't heard in days. Tell me what you need. I need to leave. My parents have given me 48 hours to get out, or I can't finish the sentence. Reed and I will be there by morning, she says without hesitation. Pack what matters. We'll handle the rest. That night, thirst drives me downstairs at midnight. The house is silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. I fill a glass with water, my hand instinctively going to my stomach, a gesture of protection that's already become habit. You'll regret this choice forever. I nearly drop the glass as I turn to find Mother standing in the doorway. Her silk robe belted tightly at the waist, her face stripped of makeup. She looks older without her carefully applied armor. This pregnancy will ruin your life, Elowen. Why can't you see we're trying to protect you? The water in my glass ripples as my hand trembles. You're not protecting me, I say, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. You're protecting yourselves from having to explain me. Mother flinches as if I've slapped her. We've given you everything. Except the right to make my own choices. The truth settles into my bones, suddenly obvious. Your love has always come with conditions. I just never failed to meet them until now. For the first time in my life, I see uncertainty flicker across her face. I step around her and climb the stairs, my back straight, my shoulders square. I don't need their approval to value my own life choices. The realization lifts a weight I've carried so long I forgot it was there. Aunt Janice and Uncle Reed arrive as the first light of dawn breaks over the mountains. Their truck pulls into our driveway just as the newspaper delivery person tosses the morning edition onto our porch. The symbolism isn't lost on menus of the outside world arriving alongside my escape route. Uncle Reed wraps me in a bear hug that smells of pine and coffee. We've got you, kiddo. They help load my belongings, suitcases, a backpack, and my photography portfolio into their truck while my parents watch silently from the front door. Aunt Janice listens as I voice my fears between trips to the truck. She doesn't offer platitudes or judgment, just nods and asks thoughtful questions. What if I can't do this? I whisper as we carry the last box. You already are, she says simply. When everything is loaded, I stand at the bottom of the porch steps. Father looks past me toward the horizon as if I've already disappeared. For the first time in my life, I meet his gaze directly instead of looking at the floor when he speaks. This isn't how I raised you, he says, his voice flat. No, I agree. This is how I'm raising myself. As I climb into the truck, Aunt Janice tells me they've saved $18,000 to help me start over. It was for a child of our own, she explains as Uncle Reed navigates the familiar streets of my childhood for the last time. But some things aren't meant to be. We think this money found its rightful purpose. Uncle Reed adjusts the rearview mirror. I work at Treasure Valley Community College. We'll get you set up with classes for spring semester if you want. We cross the state line into Idaho just after noon. My phone buzzes with a text from Maeve. Mom and Dad have forbidden us to speak your name in the house. I stare at the message until the screen goes dark, then turn my phone off and watch the landscape change outside my window. Behind us, the mountains of my childhood grow smaller in the distance. Ahead, unfamiliar terrain stretches toward a horizon I can't yet see. I balance my accounting notebook on my growing belly, squinting at the column of numbers. 6 months pregnant, and every penny must have a purpose. Rent, $675. Utilities, $93.42. Prenatal vitamins, $24.9, $9. Bus pass, $45. The mathematics of survival leaves little room for error. You're still at it? Aunt Janice sets a mug of herbal tea beside me at the kitchen table. It's almost midnight. Community college registration is tomorrow. I tap my pencil on next month's projected budget. I need to know exactly what I can afford. She studies the careful columns, the sticky notes marking upcoming bills. Reed can help with the application fee. You've done enough. I close the notebook, my hands automatically moving to my lower back where the ache never quite fades these days. I've saved enough for 2 classes this semester. Janice watches me with that look, part pride, part worry. Your ankles are swollen again. I don't deny it. My body keeps score of every 12-hour shift at Juniper's Table Diner, every night hunched over textbooks. But it's a small price for independence. The call comes 3 weeks later as I'm refilling coffee mugs during the breakfast rush. Manager Gloria waves the cordless phone from behind the counter, mouthing, "It's important." Elowen speaking. I say, tucking myself into the narrow hallway by the restrooms. This is Treasure Valley Community College. The voice sounds official. Regarding your first semester grades. My heart sinks. Between morning sickness and double shifts, I'd missed 2 quizzes in my psychology class. Congratulations on making the dean's list. Your professor specifically mentioned your research paper on childhood development. I press my back against the wall, suddenly lightheaded. Thank you, I managed to say before hanging up. That evening, I taped the official letter to the refrigerator. A small victory, but mine. The phone rings again the next morning. This time, Janice answers. She doesn't live here anymore, she says firmly, then her face hardens. No, Rosalind, I'm not enabling anything. I'm supporting a remarkable young woman who's working harder than anyone I've ever known. I freeze in the doorway, my heart thumping against my ribs. My mother's voice, tinny but unmistakable, filters through the receiver. You and Elliot have a pattern of throwing away children who don't conform to your perfect image. Janice continues, her knuckles whitening around the phone. First Dorian, now Elowen. Dorian? The name hits me like a physical blow. Don't call here again unless you're ready to apologize. Janice hangs up, turning to find me standing there. Who is Dorian? I ask, my voice barely audible. Janice's expression shifts from anger to resignation. She gestures toward the living room sofa. Your brother. Your parents' first child. I don't have a brother. But even as I say the words, I feel their hollowness. You were too young to remember when they disowned him. He was 17 when he came out as gay. Janice sits beside me, taking my trembling hands. They erased him just like they're trying to erase you. The pieces click together, the family photos that seemed oddly spaced on the wall, the Christmas ornament with a strange initial I'd once found in the attic. My father's visceral reaction whenever Uncle Reed mentioned his partner. They've been practicing this rejection for years, I whisper. Janice nods. Family shame is their specialty. When my son Ezra is finally born and placed in my arms, I wonder if I should send a birth announcement to my parents. Would extending an olive branch heal our family? Or would it just give them another chance to reject us both? I decide instead to focus on what I can build rather than what I've lost. Over the next 3 years, Janice and Reed transform their attic loft into a proper nursery. They find a second-hand crib at a church sale, paint the walls a soft green, and hang curtains that match the tiny quilted blanket Reed's mother sends from Minnesota. We've been saving this space, Janice tells me, showing me the small dresser they've refinished. Sometimes the family you need finds you when you least expect it. Their support makes it possible for me to take classes while working. When Ezra begins toddling around, Gloria at the diner adjusts my schedule to match daycare hours. Professor Winters allows me to bring Ezra to office hours when my babysitter cancels. On the day I receive my associate's degree, with 3-year-old Ezra clapping wildly from Reed's shoulders, I feel the foundation of my new life solidifying beneath me. The call from Maeve comes unexpectedly on a Tuesday afternoon. Elle? Her voice sounds smaller than I remember. It's me. 3 years of silence, and now this. I heard you have a son, she continues when I don't respond. What's his name? Ezra. I wrap the phone cord around my finger, watching my son stack blocks on the living room carpet. He's 3. Does he look like you? A hesitation. Mom and Dad don't know I'm calling. Why are you calling, Maeve? She doesn't answer directly. Dad's running for state senate, on a family values platform. I almost laugh at the irony. Later that evening, Janice finds me sorting through a box of old photographs. I need to tell you something, she says, sitting across from me. I know how to contact Dorian Maddox, your brother. I look up sharply. Maddox? He changed his name. He lives in Seattle now. He's a writer. I hold her gaze, feeling something shift inside Meth, beginning of a new chapter. A month later, I spot them before they see me, father's military straight posture and mother's pearls gleaming beneath the pendant lights of the Juniper Mountain Resort lobby. Years of silence shattered by their unexpected appearance. My hands freeze on the guest registration tablet. Elowen. Father's voice carries that familiar command, though his smile seems forced. You look, well. Mother clutches her purse with white knuckles, her gaze darting around the elegant lobby as if searching for escape routes. We hope to catch you on your break. My coworker Talia gives me a questioning look. I hand her the tablet. Cover for me? 20 minutes. I lead them to a quiet corner of the restaurant, my heels clicking against marble floors. Not the trembling teenager they last saw, but the assistant manager who walks these halls with earned authority. What brings you to Boise after these years? I ask, remaining standing while they sit. Father clears his throat. I'm running for state senate. He straightens his tie. Family values platform. Mother produces a tissue-thin smile. We've come with a compromise. Family counseling sessions, presenting a united front during the campaign. Just a few appearances, Father adds. The voters appreciate reconciliation stories. And of course, Mother says, her voice dropping to a whisper, we're prepared to offer generous financial support for Ezra. I supply. Your grandson's name is Ezra. Father leans forward, his voice hardening. Aloan, certain family histories becoming public could damage everyone. Your brother Dorian already published that tell-all book. We can't afford another scandal. The threat sits between us, tangible as the table separating us. You need me, I say, understanding washing over me like cool water. You're not here to reconcile. You're here to control the narrative. Father's jaw tightens. We're here to help you too. What are you earning here? 30,000? We can do better. I reach for my purse, removing my wallet. When I left, I had $267 to my name. I slide out a business card, placing it before them. I'm the assistant manager now. $49,500 annually, plus benefits. And I'm engaged to Selassie. You'd like him if you bothered to know him. I unlock my phone, revealing my background image Ezra in his baseball uniform, grinning with his front tooth missing. He is a straight-A student, loves dinosaurs and baseball. I swipe to photos of a modest 2-story home with blue shutters. We close on this next month. 3 bedrooms, good school district. Mother's eyes widen slightly. Father's mouth forms a tight line. I don't need your approval or your money, I say, my voice steady. I built this life without you. Father stands. You've made your point, but consider our offer. Family should stick together, especially in public. Like you stuck with Dorian? I ask. Or me? His face reddens. That situation was different. No, it wasn't. It was exactly the same. They leave with promises to call tomorrow after I've thought things through. I watch them cross the lobby, Mother's hand trembling on Father's arm. That evening, I text Dorian. They came to see me. Senate campaign damage control. His response comes immediately. My book launches next week. Riverton Community Center. Come. The week passes in a blur of preparations. Silas keeps Ezra for the weekend while I drive back to my hometown for the first time in 7 years. Main Street looks smaller somehow. The mountains beyond still magnificent but less imposing than in my memory. Dorian's event packs the community center. I recognize faces from church, school, neighborhood people who'd whispered behind my parents' backs but never offered help when I needed it. Father and Mother sit in the front row, perfect posture, perfect smiles, perfect prices. Halfway through his reading, Dorian looks up from his memoir. I'd like to introduce someone special, my sister, Elowen Price. A ripple of whispers sweeps the room as he gestures toward me. Father half rises, but camera flashes from local news teams block the exits. Mother sinks lower in her seat. I walk to the stage on legs that somehow don't tremble. Dorian puts his arm around my shoulders. Elowen and I share more than parents. We share the experience of being discarded when we became inconvenient to the Price family image. The microphone feels cool against my palm when he hands it to me. I look directly at my parents. When I was 19 and pregnant, my father gave me 48 hours to terminate my pregnancy or leave. I left because the procedure might have left me unable to ever have children again. Something my parents knew but didn't care about. Father stands now, face flushed. This is a private family matter. No, Dorian interrupts. It stopped being private when you based your campaign on family values while having discarded 2 of your children. I continue, voice calm. Our family has a pattern. When Dorian came out as gay at 17, he was sent away. When I refused to abort my son, I was thrown out. Both times, the Price family image mattered more than their children. The cameras capture everything. Father's rigid back, as he finally pushes past reporters toward the exit, Mother's tearful collapse into her seat. The perfect family facade crumbling on local news as Father's campaign implodes. 2 days later, back in my hotel room in Boise, my phone buzzes with news alerts. Senate candidate Elliot Price resigns from campaign and principal position amid family scandal. Another text arrives from Colin, also silent for years. I've separated from Jessica. I'd like to meet Ezra sometime. I set the phone down, hands shaking with a mixture of anger and vindication. A soft knock at the door interrupts my thoughts. When I open it, Maeve stands there, her perfect posture finally broken. Tears stream down her face, carving tracks through her makeup. I didn't know where else to go, she whispers. I stand in the doorway, caught between the impulse to embrace her and the memory of her betrayal, wondering if truth can heal what it first destroys. Years later, I finally built my life the way I wanted to. At the present, the aroma of grilled burgers mingles with children's laughter in our backyard. I adjust the checkered tablecloth before arranging another platter of corn on the cob. This gathering feels nothing like the Sunday dinners of my childhood. No crystal salt shakers to topple, no silence thick enough to choke on. Need any help, Elle? Silas asks, flipping a burger with expert precision. His smile still makes my heart skip after 5 years of marriage. Just enjoying the view, I answer, watching Ezra chase his 4-year-old sister Lily through the sprinkler. Their squeals rise above the country music playing from our patio speakers. When Colin's parents arrive 15 minutes early as usual, I meet them at the gate. Margaret's arms overflow with wrapped packages. We brought a few things for the children, she says, eyes pleading for approval. I accept the gifts with a smile but set clear boundaries. Thank you, but remember our agreement: visits on holidays and birthdays, no unscheduled drop-ins. The words flow easily now, without the tremor that once lived in my voice. Behind her, Frank nods stiffly. They're trying, which is more than my own parents ever did. As evening settles, our mismatched chairs form a circle on the lawn. Janice raises her lemonade, her silver hair catching the patio lights. To found family, she declares. And to blood relatives brave enough to become chosen family, adds Dorian, nodding toward his husband. I stand, my pulse quickening as all eyes turn to me. While we're making announcements, I let my hand rest on my stomach, still flat but nurturing our third child. Silas and I are expecting again. The chorus of cheers washes over me. Janice pulls me into a tight embrace, whispering congratulations. Reed claps Silas on the back while Ezra dances in circles, thrilled about becoming a big brother again. I remember another announcement, another dining table, another hand protectively covering my stomach. But this time, there are no demands, no ultimatums, only celebration. When are you due? Asks Dorian's daughter Maya, her eyes wide with excitement. November, I answer, accepting the sparkling water Silas hands me instead of wine. Later, as lanterns glow against twilight, we gather for our annual Found Family Day tradition. Reed raises his glass. To the family we choose, and the truth that freed us. To truth, we echo, our voices blending into the summer night. After the guests leave and the children are tucked into bed, I find an envelope in the mail. Maeve's handwriting. My fingers trace the Denver postmark before opening it. Dear Elowen, I've started therapy. Dr. Winters says healing means facing hard truths about our family, about what we did to you. I understand if you never want to speak to me again, but if you're willing, perhaps we could exchange letters at first. Your sister, if you'll have me. Maeve? I fold the letter carefully. Tomorrow, Dorian and I have a meeting about our foundation for young single parents. The first scholarship will be awarded next month, financial support and mentoring that I never had. At Ezra's desk, I find his family tree project for school. He's drawn branches extending in all directions. Family by birth lists even Elliot and Rosalind, whom he's never met. But the section labeled Family by Love blooms with colored photos and careful handwriting: Janice and Reed, Dorian and Carlos, Silas, Lily, and a dozen others who've shown up when it mattered. As I seal my careful response to Maeve, I wonder about the delicate balance between forgiveness and self-protection. How much of yourself would you risk to rebuild a bridge that once collapsed beneath you?